misgender Nightwing. Fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly. Optimus Prime literally misgenders a fucking Transformer, and this little girl is like, "Excuse me, Optimus." Optimus Prime's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Optimus Prime."
I just assumed they were all like didn't have genders, didn't have sexes.
I didn't realize.
Like,
well, yeah, I guess some of them are like male voices, don't they? And like female. There are some female Transformers. There's like a pink one,
and it's like actually like a girl in the show. Like, do they?
Yeah, it's like got a woman's voice, but they're not. I think they do say
her?
she. No, they don't kiss her.
Do they?
Because Optimus fucking bend over, and like she turns into like a giant dildo. That's her form. That's her form. She's like, "No, Optimus, you bend over." And he's like, in a robot laugh.
Hello and welcome to this GOATS, the singular greatest podcast on Earth. Presented and hosted this week by me, Sabak. Also hosted by Vinny and Morg.
Bonjour.
A podcast, on this noble podcast, we have a single quest: to commit to the never-ending search for the greatest of all time, and sometimes the worst of all time, and sometimes we do a top 6. Now, you're going to hear some pretty crazy shit this episode, okay? Stuff that's going to really twist your melon. And if you can get down with that, if you're cool enough, if you've got enough riz to cope with such highfalutin fucking shit, what don't you think about?
Did you write that down?
No, I ran out of momentum. I went off script and then I ran out of momentum. If you have enough riz to cope with our crazy ideas, why don't you think about subscribing to this? Why don't you think? Shut up. Why don't you think about subscribing to this show on your podcast player of choice, or check out YouTube for the video version where Mork says naughty things. Also, if you're real minted, chuck us a $5 on Patreon, but you don't have to. Anyway,
you do.
With that out of the way, how the hell are you guys doing? And not you, the listener, you can't respond, but I do care about you a little bit as well.
Doing great, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
I'm glad to hear it. What have you been up to?
I hate that question.
All right. Let's stop asking each other what we've been up to and instead ask ourselves. Let's ask one politically jarring question a week. So I might say, Michael, how do you feel about puberty blockers? And then no, I'm joking. No.
This is officially the Joe Rogan podcast.
Joe Rogan. No, because here's the rules of puberty blockers. You either think they don't do anything and it's fine, just give them to kids when they're 2 and nothing will happen, or you think it's a Nazi science experiment. You're not allowed to think anything in between. There's no nuance. It's either completely fine or it's a Nazi science experiment. That's it. That's the rules. If you have any nuance to it, you're either a transphobe or a lefty liberal.
Nazi.
There's no middle ground.
Right.
Anyway, with that out of the way, does anyone have anything to talk about this week?
I downloaded a PlayStation emulator.
Did you? What are you playing?
I'm playing the original Ratchet and Clank trilogy, which is somehow not as popular as you might think. I doubt either of you have played them.
No, I didn't have a PlayStation growing up.
Yeah,
I used to play Ratchet and Clank at what was it called? Youth Club when I was at youth club when I was a kid.
I'm not joking. Ratchet and Clank is one of the especially the first 3, one of the greatest trilogies of games of all time. Like, it's as good as like the original Zelda games and stuff like that. It's absolutely incredible. They are incredible games, and they're so slept on because they're like PlayStation exclusives. They're like so slept on. They even made a fucking movie recently about it. Yeah, the movie was absolute dog shit and nothing to do with the games, really. And Sylvester Stallone was in it. John
Was it?
Goodman was in it. Yeah, and it's just like rubbish. But the original trilogy are so good, and I was just like yearning to fucking play them. So finally, up the courage to download an emulator and figure out how the fuck it works.
Of course, all legally, right?
Oh yes, of course, all legally.
Yeah,
And
theoretically.
yeah, and finally got the settings for 1080p. Looks
Nice.
incredible. Looks amazing. Like 60 frames per second, is brilliant. So I've been having an absolute like. I was saying to Vinny the other day, if they could bottle nostalgia and sell it as drugs, like whoever did that, they'd be billionaires, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, isn't it? Don't
It's
people
like,
like
insane.
it's the most toxic emotion. It like holds you like because you're just so enveloped by it.
And you just want it as well. If you get a tiny taste of it, you just want more. Do you know what I mean?
It's weird when you get those little pangs from stuff that you didn't even know about. Like I was just
Yeah.
walking along yesterday and I was like, do you remember when wait for your dad to pick you up outside swimming and he might buy you a chocolate bar from the vending machine? And I was like, fucking hell, that was the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, where did that come from? Like where in my brain did that like
Yeah.
what two neurons just like bounced off each other and that just came flying to the forefront? I was like, where what?
Fire that little nugget. Yeah.
But, you know.
Nostalgia's a crazy one. Vinny, what are
It's
you
weird,
nostalgic
isn't it?
for?
Racial. Then I'll see that question on the spot. I'll say some career-ending things.
No, you were gonna say something that you had a funny story, didn't you?
No, I didn't at all.
You did. That's what you were telling me before Seb got on. You were like, mate, I was doing coke with Johnny Knoxville the other day.
No, I just did loads of drinking on the weekend. Went to
Nice.
a rave, which was good fun. Just like dance for like 6 hours, listening to like house music. It was just incredible.
Nice.
But
Just-
towards the end, like I last half an hour, I made the mistake of looking down at the floor, and holy fuck, it looked like no man's land in like the First World War. It was just like fucking grime, like fucking wet mud everywhere, these cans
Yeah.
everywhere, just like baggies and just fucking all this type of shit.
Yeah, it's not
Still
good. Never
beer.
look down. Never look down.
Yeah, it's like all this. It was just really muddy, like way muddier than you would have expected for like an indoor
Yeah.
rave. Like it was like a club kind of thing.
Used condoms seeping.
Well, it's
their
just all
juices.
the dirt from the bass coming off the speakers. It's just
It's the filth.
gets everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's
so
just
the
the
pure
filth.
filth.
yeah, true,
absolutely filthy drop, man.
To be fair, I did go to a D&B night in Bristol once where it was like under a railway arch and it was like genuinely a bit soggy because like it was like leaking.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was probably the filthiest drum and bass I've ever seen in my life.
Moving X was like that.
Soggy drum bass.
Yeah, you would like moving extras like that because it's in the like the viaduct in the quay, and so it's like a semicircular building, and it's not very big either. And there's like plants growing on the wall because it's so damp and moist, and then everyone's sweating, and the walls are actually like soaking wet. If you touch the walls, they're like you get clammy hands, like
That's what you
condensation
want,
from
mate. You want the
sweat.
clam,
And, like,
mate.
it's so good. It's so good. Come out, there's like dripping, like mate, fucking good night, mate.
Well, Vinny, you said you were dancing for like 6 hours straight,
Yeah.
with no performance enhancers, which is pretty impressive.
Just a lot of tinnies. I was just
a lot of
drinking a
tinnies.
lot of beer.
Um,
I was fucked by the end, to be fair.
But you could call that almost a sporting achievement. Speaking of sport, no, you could. No, you could. You could.
You could.
Dancing, I guess, is a sport.
Dancing's a
maybe.
sport if you want it to be. I mean, don't make it a sport.
I thought it was a performance art.
Depends. It depends. When I'm doing it, I'm fucking winning. I win dancing. When I start dancing, people get off the dance floor. That is how good I am at dance. Right? I have completed dancing. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen you.
Gold
Don't worry.
medal dancing, mate.
Anyway, sports, seen by many as the peak of human athletic achievement. Since we first shuffled out of our dimly lit caves thousands of years ago, it's been incredibly important to know who can run the fastest in a straight line and who can lift the heaviest rock. Since then, things have progressed to who can lift the heaviest metal bar with some other bits of metal on the end, and who can run the fastest in a straight line while jumping over some tiny little fences. But the quest remains: pit human against human and see who comes out on top.
Mhm.
In this never-ending quest to find the peak of human fitness and athleticism, who has achieved the greatest feat? Who has achieved the greatest sporting achievement of all time? There's only one way to find out. Ask two fucking knobheads.
Is it sporting achievement or sporting moment?
Is it sporting moment?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, let me redo that. I knew it was the moment. I just fucked it.
Because I was like, damn, this is a great sporting moment. But I was like, is it an achievement? Oh, holy shit, I've got to rewrite my script on the fly.
Yeah, it is different. It is different. You're right.
Sorry, that is my bad. I'm a bit tired and I said the wrong thing. Right.
Damn, boy.
It's all good. Retake. Take 2. Reload.
Sport. Penis. Anyway, right. Sports. Seen by many as the peak of human achievement. Since we first shuffled out of our dimly lit caves thousands of years ago, it's been incredible. Hang on, I need to redo the segue. Vinny, you said you danced for 6 hours straight. Could that be considered a sporting moment? Probably not.
That was like 5 minutes ago, bro. What the fuck?
Could that be considered a sporting moment? Probably not. But what could be is what follows. Sports, seen by many as the peak of human achievement. Since we first shuffled out of those dimly lit caves thousands of years ago, it's been incredibly important to know who can lift the heaviest rock and who can run the fastest in a straight line. Since then, things have progressed to who can lift the heaviest metal bar with some other bits of metal on the end, and who can run the fastest in a straight line whilst jumping over some tiny little fences. But the quest remains: pit human against human and see who comes out on top. And in this never-ending quest to find the peak of human fitness and athleticism, there have been some incredible, some emotional, some gut-wrenching, some heart-lifting moments. But which has been the greatest? Non-footballing related. There's only one way to find out. Who wants to go first?
Can I go first?
Yes, you can.
Nice.
Mork, I don't like that little...
Can I use my executive veto to veto?
No, I don't like that little smirk you've got going on.
What? I haven't got any smirk.
Literally, the first thing Mork messaged me, we all agreed. We went, oh, we're not doing anything football related. And I get a message like 5 minutes later, just goes, Istanbul 2005.
Of course, of course.
It was no.
I don't even know if that's the greatest footballing achievement, but anyway, greatest footballing moment. I don't think it
Put
is.
it up there.
Nah.
I think it's up
3-0 down at half time to fucking that AC Milan team, mate.
Oh dear. Right, Vinny. Oh, pardon me. Vinny, you're up first. You got 15 minutes to give. Oh, pardon
On
me.
the clock.
Bloody hell.
Ready?
I'm all over the place here.
It's all good, bro.
Anyone would think I'd had a drink. Right. Vinny, you seem prepared, excited, and
You
some would
seem
say
prepared.
some would say aroused.
I seem excited.
Vinny, you seem prepared. Let's see if that work has paid off. As you tell us, within roughly 15 minutes, give or take, what you think the greatest sporting moment of all time is.
Okay, so like it or not, politics has and always will be a part of some of the biggest sporting occasions. Examples like...
Get it out of football.
Are you quoting someone there?
It's just everyone ever who's on Twitter and everything going, you know, every time like the World Cup in Qatar, mate, politics shouldn't be in football, mate. It's about kicking a ball and that. Stop talking about politics and that, mate. It's like, no.
The best I've seen.
Vinny's right. It's important. He's going to tell us why. Shut the fuck up.
My favourite was when I saw when the post announcing that Mason Greenwood had gone to Getafe and someone under that put keep politics out of football, and it's like there's nothing political about that.
That's
he beat a woman up. There's no politics there. You fucking loser.
Yeah.
What are you on
He's
about?
a rapist.
He's a
It's
rapist.
like-
Let's not get political.
Keep the politics out of things.
Yeah, it's fuck Fucking hell.
Fine, he's still a rapist.
Yeah.
True.
Anyway, Vinny, prove all those fucking Chelsea fans wrong.
Well, I wouldn't say I necessarily agree that it should be in sports. I'm just
But it
saying
is.
that it will always be in sports. It always
Yes.
has been in sports. I mean, I gave some examples like Saudi Arabia starting up, was it the LIV Golf, Live Golf?
Oh yeah.
Live Golf, yeah.
Yeah, like a competitor to other professional golf tours.
The PGA Tour, yeah.
As well as obviously paying big money to get those washed up superstars of old in football to the Saudi Pro League.
Sorry,
Mhm.
quick pause. Speaking of that, did you see the whole thing? Obviously, it wasn't actually in the Saudi Pro League, but the Messi versus Ronaldo, the final battle that it was like purported to be in Hong Kong, and then neither Messi nor Ronaldo could play because they were both injured, and all the fans
Yeah.
started screaming refund.
Was that
Yeah.
what that was? I heard something
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. They did a friendly. Neither of them played, and now China have like officially cut ties with some weird Argentinian thing. You'd have to look it up. You're quoting me wrong there, but China have done some official thing
Yeah.
to like block
Wow.
some Argentinian thing because they feel like because then Messi played in Japan or something or in Korea like a few
Yeah.
days later because he was like better, obviously.
not.
And they were like, right, you fucking slandered the Chinese people, like Argentina's not welcome in our country or something crazy. That's fucking mad, yeah, crazy.
The guy, I can't remember which one it was, but one of the guys from the Upshot described Ronaldo as watching the game like a half-interested Roman emperor. He was just sort of up in the stands, kind of just
Yeah.
like bemusingly watching,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
half interested. And and everyone started screaming refund. So good stuff.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, Finny, back at it.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through my first paragraph. So
Yeah.
yeah, so politics, it's in sports.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there. Another example is, and although it's not really a sport, it did show up in the politics and sports Wikipedia article, so it half counts. But
Gets a mention.
chess was also used as a vehicle for like a political vehicle for like the Americans and the Soviets to sort of showcase to the world whose ideology was really the best, like the left, the East versus the West. But it wasn't just with chess that these two global superpowers flexed their philosophies on how to run a country. As in the majority of the 20th century, the biggest stage in world sport with the most eyes on it globally was, of course, the Olympics. So during the Cold War, you had Americans refusing to participate in Soviet-run games, and then Soviets also refusing to participate in American ones. So anyway, Nazi Germany was set to host both the Summer and Winter Olympics in 1936.
Yeah, well, how did that happen
Is this
in
the
Cold
second
War?
episode in a row or something where you just go, you did it in the art thing as well. You're like,
Art movement,
1936 Berlin.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
The Nazis
Just out of
Nazis out of
nowhere.
I just
So
couldn't,
anyway, sporting moment. The Nazis, right?
I just couldn't I couldn't find a way to link those two, like the introduction to like what I want to talk about. So I just went straight to Nazis.
You did that last time. You
It's
know what?
shocking.
It was
It
great.
gets people engaged.
It does, yeah.
Nazi Germany. Let's fucking go.
Clip that.
Can you pog
Clip
that? I don't know if I want to pog that.
Poggers.
Let's say it's good.
Seb's
I
done
just
it.
say it gets the people
Nah,
excited.
if anything's not Pog, it's the Nazis.
Yeah.
Can we all just yeah.
Should we
agree
just
that
on
the
three
Nazis-
say we don't like the Nazis?
In like 50 years' time, textbooks are going to say Hitler had quite a lot of riz, but the Nazis weren't that Pog. He used his riz to convince the German people the Jews weren't that poggers.
It's undisputed Riz.
Oh.
And people
Anyway.
flocked to the stores like they wanted. I don't know.
Anyway, Nazi Germany. It was set to host both the Summer and the Winter Olympics in 1936. Which, fun fact, that's the last time a single country has done that. You know,
Both, yeah.
both Olympics in 1 year.
They've stopped now because people tend to
How
go
did
on
they
a
do
killing
the
spree.
Winter Olympics? Because there ain't no snow.
There's loads of snow in Germany. There's the German
Yeah.
Alps.
Yeah.
Oh, in the bottom bit. Oh, yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Get done, mate. Fucking idiot.
This would be their major showcase to the world that its regime was just simply the best.
Simply the best.
Of course.
Sorry, I know I'm interrupting again, but can we have a montage of Simply the Best with just Hitler salutes?
No, this is what we can't do.
All right, I knew this would happen. I talked about the Nazis. You'd get excited and start highlighting Hitler live on screen.
Exactly.
I knew this would happen.
This is why whatever you pick, this is why you picked it, just so you can win Sev over. As soon as you said Nazi, I saw his eyes go like. He's like, wow.
I know, but what if he ends up like proving that the Nazis aren't all that? That'd be lame.
Anyway, around the time of 1936, this was, at the point where most other countries in the world were pretty sus of the Nazis, and they're pretty not okay extreme ideologies, and
but I think that's an important point Vinny's saying, because it was you think what the Olympics in Nazi Germany, that's impossible, but there was a period of time where the Nazis were just kicking about and running a country as if normal. There was no war or anything.
Adolf Hitler
was only
Times Person of the Year in like 1932 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. They were just kicking about all hunky-dory. It was only when they invaded Poland, everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing?
It was before then. The people sort of caught wind of all the super anti-Semitism and the
true.
It's like Aryan master race stuff, and
but it wasn't
marches.
like boom, instant. As soon as he was elected, it was like right.
No, it was people started to catch wind of what was going on,
exactly. So there was a period of time where the Nazis were just there. People were like, oh, it's a bit weird over there, but nothing, too crazy.
Isn't there a picture of a Nazi Zeppelin over New York with a big swastika on it, or am I imagining that?
They flew the Hindenburg to America.
Yeah, the Hindenburg was pre-Nazi, wasn't it? Yeah, there is. Yeah,
was it pre-Nazi? I can't remember.
Oh no, it is the Hindenburg. Yeah, the Hindenburg over New York with its swastikas on the back. Cracking crazy.
Oh, yeah, 31. Yeah, that was pre-Nazi. Shit, mate. No, I'm literally 10% in. So yeah. At this point, people were like, "We're pretty not cool with what's going on in Nazi Germany. We're pretty sure you guys are doing some pretty nasty stuff." So much so that there was this massive call for all these Western countries to basically just boycott the Summer Games. And this call was sort of seen by some as throwing rocks in glass houses, as in the US they still had apartheid at that point, so they can't really say, stop being so racist, Nazi Germany, when they're extremely racist back home. So you got to remember that sort of stuff too. But to combat these potential boycotts, Goebbels, who I'm guessing everyone knows by now, devised a devilish plan. He would invite a US sporting representative to the country and guide him around Berlin to show the US that the Nazis were just a bit misunderstood, really. And of course, you probably guessed that the visit was extremely curated and a very cleaned up version of Nazi Germany. The Nazis removed all of the anti-Semitic posters that hung around the city of Berlin, made sure that the brown shirts were never seen, and even threatened some of their Jewish athletes into lying about how, all the anti-Semitism stuff is only what's the word? It's blown
hearsay.
up bigger than it. It's hearsay. It's blown up bigger than it is. It's not really a bad thing. But yeah, they were obviously they threatening these athletes as families and stuff. So they were kind of forced into saying this stuff. And the plan worked perfectly for Goebbels. And so the American was so thoroughly convinced by the curated visit that he told the press when he came home that it must be some sort of Jewish communist conspiracy that is giving the Nazis such a bad rep, Yikes.
Damn. Yikes, indeed. That's crazy.
And also urged the US to participate in the games. Seeing America saying, giving the green light, participating in the games, every other country, it was like a domino effect. They said, if America, they're saying it's all right, the Nazis, like, we can do their thing, they're not as bad as people think, then they must be. It must be fine. So the show went on as normal. There was no one, no nations were left behind. So now, with the whole world's eyes on the country and its regime, the Nazis would put on a huge spectacle. They'd start by building an entirely brand new Olympic village for the athletes to be housed in. They built a brand new 100,000 capacity stadium, which I've actually been to. It's fucking huge. And it would even be not only the first Olympic Games to be televised live, but the first ever live event to be broadcasted full stop, like on TV.
Oh, yeah, I knew that actually. Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
The first live broadcast ever is just Hitler.
Yeah.
And the opening ceremony.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah.
What that stadium? Who is that owned by a sports team now, or is that just like Germany's national stadium? Or
I think it's just Germany's national stadium, because when I went there, it didn't look like it's the sort of place a team plays in.
No, I think it is Germany's national stadium, but it's undergone a few renovations.
They took the swastikas down.
Yeah, it doesn't have 100,000 seats in it anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it. Like I read that it once had a capacity, well, not a capacity, but once had a more than 100,000 attendees in it at one point. But nowadays it's like 75k, which is still huge.
It is a bit lame. I know, obviously, it's because of all the stadium incidents, but like back and look at pictures of like even like Mexico '86 and like just old school stadiums. Like I was watching a video of Michael Jackson's Super Bowl halftime show, and the way those stadiums were packed, you just don't get it anymore. Like, it's just crazy.
Disaster.
I mean, people getting crushed to death is probably a good reason why you have capacities.
It's very cool for like the atmosphere and vibe and everything, but there's a very good reason why you're doing that.
I think they still get pretty hectic in Argentina, don't they, and stuff like that. Like,
they do get hectic. Yeah, they do.
I think so. Yeah. Not only all of those things, but the Berlin Games would actually be the first to make use of the Olympic torch relay, where they take it from Athens all the way to Berlin.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, they did a lot of new stuff with this shit. They were very much like,
we need to make this wicked.
Yeah, put a lot of money and resources into making this and making us look as good as possible.
That's crazy. When we were all like buzzing with like the relay in like London 2012 and stuff, the Nazis started that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Greeks started it, but
the Nazis made it.
The Nazis brought it back.
The Nazis brought it back. Yeah,
crazy.
When the final relayist made it to the stadium and lit that flame in front of all those people, the entire crowd erupted in awe and cheer. The Nazi propaganda machine was working. Dun dun dun. But it didn't count on one thing. You see, it's probably, everyone probably knows this and that by now, but I'll give some context anyway. The Nazis were obsessed with this idea of the Aryan master race. That being tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people were just about superior to every other race on Earth in every way. Well, despite Germany winning the most medals over the course of the games, I think their points were double that of America's, which were who came second. It wasn't a young German Aryan who stole the show at the Berlin Olympics. It was a poor black American who would end up being the talk of the event. And his name was Albert Einstein. Jess Yearns.
Albert Einstein. Oh my god, I just have this image of like Albert Einstein across like a ribbon, like finish, like like his face, like
running under like 10 seconds. Jimmy to sprint.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, Jesse Owens, not Albert Einstein. The name of the fella I'm talking about finally is Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
So, born in Alabama in 1913, Jesse Owens was the grandson of American slaves. He lived in a home with his parents and 10 siblings growing up, and they were so poor that at one point when Jesse was 9 years old, he got diagnosed with having a benign tumor on him. The family, being so poor, they couldn't afford a doctor to surgically remove it. So his own mother chopped it off with a kitchen knife.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Brutal.
that is savage.
Yeah, 9 years old. And I mean, I guess it saved his life. Like, holy shit, though.
Yeah. Well, benign means non-deadly, but still.
Oh, shit. My bad.
But
I guess it was-
it's still savage.
Weight reduction came unuseful in a couple of
Yeah.
years. No.
Yeah.
No.
Could have been.
If it's benign, I guess it's fine. I don't know. If it's benign,
I guess it's fine.
But I think, you know what? You may have accidentally stumbled on a real saying.
Yeah.
I actually recall, I think I recall hearing something similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. So yeah, like whilst at school, he would take up track and field. And as it turned out, he was pretty good at sprinting, but not only sprinting, and this is what's quite crazy, but jumping too. I feel like nowadays you don't see this, but like top athletes like Usain Bolt or whatever, like the real top guys in like sprinting 100 meter, 200 meter, relay, they're not doing long jump as well, are they? Like long jump is completely
And if they
different.
are, they're doing like heptathlon or something like that.
Yeah, the guys
exactly.
who are like multifaceted, they'll do like the heptathlons, the triathlons, all that kind of stuff, where they'll do like heptathlons, like a run, javelin, or they're kind of pretty good at everything. But the real top competitors in each individual category, they only do that to become the absolute peak of that one particular.
I do
kind
think
of
that
thing.
like that heptathlon thing is. I find that the most impressive. Like, do you remember that London 2012 where Jess Ennis was just fucking like great at everything? It's like,
but they won't.
hell.
Yeah, like I think if you compare like the records of like a heptathlon javelin to an actual to the actual javelin, there's like a big difference in the distances that they throw. But it is still really impressive that they can do all of them within the space
they're
of
like an all-round
a couple
athlete,
of
aren't they?
days. Yeah. They're like very, very good at everything, which is cool. Yeah.
But yeah, Jesse Owens was just literally top of the game in both
On each
jumping
one.
and
Crazy.
sprinting, which is nuts.
Yeah.
I think.
Was it long jump or high jump?
Long jump.
Cool.
Long jump's the one with the sand, right? You jump
Yeah.
Mhm.
forward. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Although that time apparently it was called broad jump, which is an interesting fact.
Of course
I
it
guess.
was.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's very 1930s. So the broad jump,
Yeah.
my good sir.
Oh, that bit you sent me, Sevek, of Shane Gillis.
Shane
That
Gillis.
was funny.
When white people
Wow,
stop being cool.
Archie.
Was it when Jackie Robinson hits his first home run? He's like, "Oh, a little coloured boy from the Boston Red." Oh shit, home run. Okay, it's just like fucking incredible. Like he's
Knocks
so
the
good.
accent out of him.
No, there's Curly. He's a 45-year-old alcoholic, greatest athlete alive. They say runs a 6-second 40-yard dash.
But yeah. So he was really good at sprinting and jumping at high school. He'd break all the records, and this would attract scholarships from colleges all over the US. But despite him going to Ohio State University on this scholarship, it wasn't a fully paid scholarship, so he still had to essentially work odd jobs whilst at like college and whilst like doing track and field, and like he had to support his new young family as well with his like new wife as well. So
Oh my god,
a lot of stuff going on for this guy. A lot of stuff. But long story short, by age 22, Jesse Owens is considered the greatest runner and jumper in the world at that point. He would lead the American track and field team to the Berlin Olympics, where he would be the star. And as it turned out, not only was Jesse a huge star in America, being considered the first ever black American to actually be fully accepted by most white Americans, like as a celebrity and a hero.
Right, yeah.
But also, he was celebrated just as much in Germany. He was, without a doubt, the most hyped athlete going into the games. And boy howdy did he produce. Jesse
Boy.
would Jesse
Just
every time I was writing Jesse for this, I was just thinking Jesse.
I was gonna say, how has only one Jesse come out so by now?
So Jesse would take home 4 gold medals, and this would be the one in 100-meter sprint, 200-meter sprint, 100-meter relay, 4 times 100-meter relay, all that means. And yeah, as we were saying before, broad jump, or as the kids
Long
like to call it nowadays, as you youngins like to call it nowadays, long jump.
The Riz jump.
Yeah, poggers jump, high poggers. Breaking Olympic records in the process. He was so beloved by the people that even Hitler, who would later refuse to congratulate other black American athletes' achievements at the games, was actually apparently enthusiastically waving at him after he won these things.
He was enthused. I mean, coming from Hitler, that's probably quite
Yeah,
like.
I don't mean to be a knob, but that actually is Riz. Like, having the charisma and the star power to turn the head of the most notoriously fascistic and racist man ever to be like, oh my god, it's Jesse Owens! That's insane.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I do wonder if it was because he was just jacked up on meth the entire time, because there's like you can see like the images of him, like
the videos of him where he's like,
he's literally just like stimming fucking non-stop.
yeah.
Can you imagine how sick those Olympics were for him?
Yeah,
oh my
exactly.
god, that guy was fucking rapping. Jesus Christ.
There's 100,000 people here. Fuck.
I've accidentally started a Jewish conspiracy. Oh god. It's like the worst come downs in the morning. Oh no, what did I say?
Jewish conspiracy.
Oh,
Did I take loads of
Jesus.
meth and say a bunch of really anti-Semitic stuff again? Yeah, man, you've really got to stop doing that.
Well, that's just Kanye West, isn't it?
Topical. Vinny, carry on.
So he won all those things, did amazingly. So I'm just gonna say what kind of happened in the long jump, because that's kind of the most exciting part. So to qualify, how it worked still was to qualify as a finalist in the long jump event, each athlete had to complete 3 jumps, and the best of those 3 jumps, you know, if that was a good enough score, they would then get into the top 8 or top 10, whatever it is. Jesse did a practice jump where he kind of just like didn't really jump properly, he sort of fouled it. But in some miscommunication, that was actually taken as his first proper jump, and it was taken as a foul.
Oh.
His second jump would also be a foul. So he's down to his last jump, and it really looked like he might just simply foul out. Now that is until his main rival, the German Luz Long, gave Jesse some pointers on how not to foul. This would work as his third would be good enough to qualify. He would go through to the finals, where the both of them, Luz and Jesse. Sorry, Luz and Jesse. Sorry, wait, hang on. In the finals, they would go toe to toe, with Luz even breaking the Olympic record on his third attempt. But Jesse Owens pulls a fucking worldie out of his ass. It's Real Madrid. It's the Champions League. They've got an XG conceded of like 6 at this point. And on his 6th attempt, he would reach 8.06 meters, breaking the Olympic record and sealing another gold medal. And a show of sporting camaraderie, Luz Long helped Jesse up after this incredible jump and then paraded him around and cheered him along with the crowd, celebrating his achievements.
A German doing that with a black American in front of Hitler.
Also, another thing, the guy who does the long jump for fucking Germany is called Luz Long.
Luz Long? Yeah, oh yeah. Luz Long does long jump.
He's born to do it.
Well, he was
but not
broad jump, I guess, at that time. They didn't know his potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
That's insane.
James
Not the
Broad from Britain didn't fare so well, unfortunately, despite his name.
So yeah, like you said, like doing all this stuff in front of the Nazis, obviously pissed them off quite a lot. And although Hitler, I think like Jesse Owens apparently said that like he wasn't snubbed by Hitler, he was actually snubbed by the president at the time, Franklin D. Roosevelt, because he didn't even send him a telegram or even officially congratulate Jesse Owens to like his death, which is pretty fucked. Whereas like at least Hitler enthusiastically waved at him, fucking jacked up on meth in the crowd. Although Hitler never officially congratulated him either, because getting into it too much, but basically he was annoyed at other black Americans doing really well in other things, and so he didn't congratulate them. And then when one of the Olympic representatives came down and was just like, right, you either congratulate all of them or you congratulate none of them. And so he was like, right, I'm out, I'm congratulating none of them. So right. he didn't get to congratulate Jesse.
He doubled down.
Probably the worst thing Hitler's ever done. It's an awful thing to do.
Fuck's sake.
Really bad, anyway.
But so whilst this was all happening, Hitler also hired his favorite director, and this was a woman by the name of Leni Riefenstahl, to essentially just like film the games and make like a director film about the whole games as like part of this propaganda project, show to the world. And obviously Jesse Owens was the star of the show, and so she was very much like, right, I need to make him the star of the show. I need to like prominently show Jesse Owens because he was the face of the Olympics. And apparently Goebbels got into loads of arguments with her because it's like, no fucking way are you putting a black American, you know, when we as like the front run of our Olympics, when like the Aryan race, you know, the Germans, we're like the master race and all this, like we should be front and center. But because she was, you know, pretty good friends with Hitler, she got the last say in it. And
like the Germans won as well, right?
Yeah, no, the
Olympics.
The Germans,
like they smashed it. So you think a movie about Germany's Olympics would be all about like, why even mention Jesse Owens? He came second effectively in the team. Like he's a fucking loser effectively, but I guess he was such a massive figure as a person that he needed to be like front and center. Yeah, that's crazy.
And he won 4 gold medals. That's still like
exactly. That's nuts. Yeah. No. I'm saying like from their perspective, they're like, you know, USA fucking lost. We don't need to show him. But that's the thing. He was so big. Winning those 4 gold medals like was so massive that he needed to be like the poster boy.
So that's why I think Jesse Owens at the 1936 Berlin Olympics is the greatest sporting moment of all time. There was a poor black American whose lineage had been enslaved by white supremacists, showing up in the very heartland of racism and bigotry and putting on a show so great that even their leader applauded, and thus crashing the idea of a single master race. Is all a GOAT sporting moment needs. Smiley face.
Damn, smiley face. Did you actually write a smiley face at the end of your script?
No, I didn't.
Or did you write smiley face in brackets?
Brackets smiley face.
I sometimes do that. Like last week when I said presentation and I said it in a French accent, I put in brackets French accent.
That's great.
Well, I mean, that is hard to argue with, to be honest with you. Fucking hell. I mean, you know, it doesn't get much bigger than sticking it to Adolf Hitler, really, does it? Like,
that's not Messi winning the World Cup, but
I mean, but that is the thing with sport, isn't it? Is that like objectively that is really hard to beat. Like it's almost fanciful now. The idea that fucking coming back from 3-0 down in Istanbul would be on the same level as someone, you know, toppling an ideology is just absolutely mental, really, isn't it?
It is crazy.
What was he celebrated when he came back to America?
Yeah, the people loved him. It was just the president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, never publicly congratulated him. You know, I think there was still like definitely some racists in America who didn't like him.
Yeah.
Fucking hell! Wow.
Damn.
That is incredible. What a story. And it's actually a story I don't think I really fully understood. Like, I kind of think I thought I knew how it went down, but I don't think I really had much of an idea of what actually happened.
Didn't you miss out some crucial details though? What about, didn't he meet a bald guy with a mustache?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Did they go on some hijinks in America?
They made some blue ice candy,
some blue sugar,
some blue sugar candy. Yeah.
Well, off the back of that really poor joke, I was going to do a middle bit, but we interrupted so many times. The record's already quite long, and to be honest with you, my middle bit wasn't worth much hack. So I was wondering how we'd feel about just cracking on with the next segment. I can do the middle bit.
We could talk about greatest sporting moments, like other really good sporting moments, or we could say that
our favorites.
Yeah, just other ones that like we came across that were like cool to talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's a good shout. Why don't I intro that instead? So for this middle bit,
I hope I don't accidentally talk about Mork's one. I won't. Okay.
I don't like that. If it's football related, you are disqualified.
It's not.
So, on that note, an idea that was entirely mine and not suggested to me by Vinny at all.
Or more.
Why don't we? Well, you weren't involved. You were just pruning your beard and wanking.
I just said ones that we liked.
No, I'm joking. Right, an idea that was suggested to me by Mork and Vinny.
The asterisks on Mork.
Yeah, Mork.
Mork.
He's like that guy from Quavos that wasn't in the room when they made their one track that was big. No, harsh.
What about Quavos? I don't understand.
Quavos. What's that? Quavo. What's the band? Who's the?
I'm not.
Migos, not Quavos.
Oh, Quavos. How the fuck did you get that?
Isn't one of their guys called Quavo or like?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't fucking right. Cut all that. It's probably racist. Okay, let's talk about some of the most sporting moments in our lifetime, moments that we will never forget. I mean, I think obviously for all three of us, I would imagine a lot of them are going to be London 2012 related, because like that was such a big like I just
Vinny, don't you fucking shake your head at me, boy.
I mean,
do you not remember the London 2012 Olympics where me and you just sat in my house for like a whole week and watched everything we could?
It was good. It was great. But I don't really remember ever being like, "Wow!" at any points. They didn't.
It was one of my best memories.
That blew my mind. Obviously, it was Usain Bolt, but like I don't know.
I'll never forget Usain Bolt. That was mad. That was mad.
It was cool.
I remember going into assembly in high school when they were like, it was when he won his first gold at Beijing, and they were like, Rev Kev was our reverend. I went to a church high school for some reason. So did Vinny. And Rev Kev, he was like, he was fucking cool, man. He was down with the kids as a priest or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, look at Usain Bolt, yo. And we just watched him like beat the world record, and it was like, yeah, look, he done all this shit with his fucking shoes untied. And we were like, what? And it like, you know, the camera zooms in, and he's got his shoelaces untied on his like golden Pumas, isn't he? And then he was like, yeah, see, with God by your side, look, that's why you didn't trip over. You can do anything. Right, let's pray. And we were like, what?
I don't know, mate. Seems a bit fishy, mate.
I don't remember him being being that like obvious about it.
It was along those lines. I was just like, oh,
something
man.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. But that was crazy, like just seeing Bolt there and like the whole ka-chow thing. Like, I feel like he's like Lightning McQueen as a real person.
Ka-chow.
Good jigger. Good jigger.
Good jigger.
Yeah.
That's Chuck.
Yeah, that's Chuck.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Any other
Disney
big moments you can think of? Like moments that you witnessed live? I'm trying to think. I remember...
Not football.
Not football related.
Not football, okay.
Well, there's a lot of football ones, unfortunately.
It's only football.
Ones that I like I don't think I saw this live, but when I first started getting really into snooker as a kid, I was just obsessed with Ronnie O'Sullivan. He had a cool nickname, Ronnie the Rocket, and he was the best by fucking far. He was like a showman with snooker, and a lot of snooker players are like, you know, snooty men in tuxedos, just like knocking balls around. Whereas Ron O'Sullivan's got absolute fucking swag. He just comes in and just classes balls into the pockets. And so yeah, fucking what?
Was he the one who did crack?
No.
No,
Did you listen to that Upshot podcast?
No, I don't think he did crack.
It's mad.
But he very famously one time he was on a 147 break, which is the maximum amount of points you can score in a frame of snooker. It's red black all the way, right? And at one point he was on for it. He literally had like 3 balls left a pot or whatever, and he knows he can 100% get it. And he asks the referees how much is the prize money this year for 147? And she's like, oh, I don't know, X amount. And he's like, oh, that's fucking not enough. So in a standoff protest, he just pots the pink instead and gets less and doesn't get the maximum break, so he doesn't win the prize money. That's fucking big ball. That's like big balls. But what he did do is the fastest ever 147 break, and it was 5 minutes and 8 seconds.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but that sounds insane.
Clearing an entire snooker table in one go without your opponent standing up once and hitting a ball in 5 minutes, just bang. But how many fucking snooker balls are there? Like 23 or something?
That's all right. That's pretty mad.
Like normally a frame of snooker might last like 30 minutes. And he's just there like, cool. Moves over. Don't go and watch the video. It's nuts. At first he starts a bit slow, but then he literally just goes, knock the ball, walk over, knock the ball, walk over, knock the ball, walk over. Like it's fucking rapid. That is one of the greatest sporting moments of all time. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Did you watch it live?
No, I didn't watch it live, but it was when I was getting really into snooker that I was like, oh shit, what's this going on? Or just YouTube, like, oh, and I remember watching it for the first time on YouTube, like, wow, that is ridiculous.
Who's that? It was some sort of runner in the Olympics who snapped, like, he does something crazy, like snap his hamstring whilst running, and his dad, like,
oh, that really famous thing where his dad comes out. Yeah, what's that?
Oh yeah,
I don't remember that happening.
No,
I don't remember that happening. No,
I the only live ones I watched that I was actually wowed by were just all football. Like,
yeah,
I've not watched a lot of other live sports, to be honest.
I'm trying to think, what did I watch live?
Like a hell of a lot.
There's a few boxing and MMA ones, like Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds.
To be fair, who is that? The fastest puncher in the world, or whatever, the most powerful puncher in the world against the Gypsy King.
Oh shit! Yeah, Ngannou knocking Fury down.
Ngannou
that was what?
knocking him. Yeah, that was insane. Actually,
he won that fight. That was a robbery.
Oh yeah, absolutely, he won that fight.
That was.
And now he's.
Yeah. Now he's one of the most disappointing sporting moments of all time that we watched together, Seb, was
oh my god, yeah.
Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, we stayed up so late to watch that at my mum's house, and then Tom got so bored he snapped a frying pan in half.
Yeah, which is fair enough because it was really fucking dreadful.
It was so
this was
boring.
billed as like the greatest fight ever, and it was dire. And I just remember sat there the whole time thinking, I wish this had happened 10 years ago. This is so dull. It's just so fucking boring.
Yeah, that was a letdown.
That was rubbish.
Yeah.
I haven't really got any more unless you want to talk about football.
I remember watching AJ knock down fucking, what's his name, Klitschko. That was pretty wild.
He knocked him out. Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, with a few mates of mine. That was pretty crazy. Probably most of mine are either fighting or football.
What a segment this is.
Well, to be fair, my idea was just to talk about the other ones that we researched because I don't.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, go on then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other one, to be fair, sorry, I'm just going to immediately interrupt. The one that I thought one of you two was going to pick but didn't is fucking Tiger Woods winning his final Masters in 2019.
Golf's not a real sport. No one cares about golf.
I mean, neither is snooker, but if snooker's a sport, golf's a sport.
No one actually. Yeah, but they wear chinos in golf.
Yeah, they wear fucking tuxedos in snooker, mate. They fucking keep up.
Yeah, but they do crack in snooker, mate.
Yeah, fucking so did Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was gone. That's what's mad about it.
Didn't Tiger Woods kick the shit out of his wife?
No, he's not. He's just an alky. He's just like a drug-addled alky. He has like a sex addiction, by the sounds of things. Like,
sex addiction. That might be it. Yeah.
You should listen to the Upshot one on his life is fucking crazy. Like he just is. His dad like made him write a letter to his first girlfriend, like breaking up with her because he needed to like pursue golf. His dad was like stood over him and was like, write this letter, break up with your girlfriend, you never get to see her again. And then like but like he was gone. Like he had this like really bad back injury, became addicted to like prescription painkillers, like got really like had like 2 DUIs, got caught with like multiple sex workers. Like his career's over, all his backers or like all his sponsors have like dropped him. And then he was like, he dropped like out of the top 1,000 ranked golfers in the world. Like he was gone. Like he was like totally off the radar. Picture, and then he comes back to win a Masters. It's just fucking mental.
Yeah, it is a crazy story, to be fair.
Actually, watching Andy Murray win Wimbledon the first time was a memorable experience for me for 2 reasons. One reason, Murray winning Wimbledon for the first time, and the second reason I won't go into.
Were you getting wanked off?
No.
What was it?
Wanking someone.
The other one.
You were wanking someone else off?
Yeah.
Great.
No. Yeah, let's cut that, actually.
Who was that with?
I'm not going to say in case it doesn't get cut. We'll find us around in there.
I'm not going to cut this, by the way. It's going to remain on the VOD.
No, I should have said anything.
If that person had a name, would they be someone who looked after sheep?
No, it's no one that you know.
Oh, interesting.
But still.
Okay, well, anyway, Vinny, what was something that you were looking at?
Well, there was one that I kind of wanted to do, but it was either like a Muhammad Ali one, like Rumble in the Jungle maybe, or like when he knocked that guy out in like 6 seconds, and everyone thought it was he dived or whatever. He took a dive. But another one that kind of popped up in my head was I don't know if you guys watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and like the Chicago Bulls.
No, I still haven't seen
it. But there's a moment. It's like a really important game, and he's out like away, I think, at this place, and he's just got the most horrendous fever ever. But like they need to win this game, and he's just on the bench and he's sweating buckets. He looks like he's done a full workout, but he's just on the bench the entire time. And he's just like, right, coach, like sub me in. I'm going in. Like we're losing. Like we can't be having this. And
this is Michael Jordan, is it?
Michael Jordan. He like fucking takes back the game, like makes a comeback, and just like beats them like basically almost by himself. He goes fucking turbo mode whilst sweating bullets, and just
he goes
looking, like
ham.
complete shit.
His flu game, isn't it? That's what they call it. His flu game. It's fucking insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible.
One I did actually that I thought about picking was Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson. Which came out of nowhere. And, you know, they asked him what the fuck? And he said basically his mum told him that she had a dream or a vision that he was going to knock out Mike Tyson. And his mum died like 3 days before the fight. And so he was like, I had to knock him out so that my mum's vision would be true or something. And it's like, fair, dude, fair. Like that was a massive fucking shock because Buster Douglas was literally nobody.
Wasn't that was that post Mike Tyson going to jail, or was that pre?
I think it was pre Mike Tyson going to jail because his first fight after jail was with this big white guy. I can't remember what he's called. I think it's like an Irish. He's got like an Irish name, but it might be American. No, Tyson fucking battered him. He literally annihilates this guy. Like this guy's like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna do it, and Tyson's just there like death staring him. Like following him around the ring with his eyes and just annihilates him. Like he was even better after prison. Like, it was nuts.
One of the coolest
fucking animal.
Have you seen the video of before Rumble in the Jungle? Because Rumble in the Jungle was against George Foreman, isn't it? And like fucking Ali's talking to his camp, and there's this footage, and all his camp look fucking terrified. And he's like, "I'm not scared. You can't be scared. You got to go out there. You got to smile." Who is this big George Foreman? He's like, and he's like hyping up his own team because like at that point George Foreman was like, people thought he would like kill him. Like they were like, the idea was like if George Foreman hit you, you would die. Yeah. And like he's like, I'm not scared. Are you scared? You got to be a man. And he's like getting like all up in their faces, and like he's like hyping up his own hype man. He's like, you go out there. If he looks at you,
I hospitalized a brick. I'm so sick. I made medicine sick.
He is what a man, like Jesus Christ. Anyway, before we crack on with the next segment, I'm on 4% battery, so I need to run up and grab my charger.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
BRB.
My style is ridiculous.
Anyway, yeah. I would have to say Muhammad Ali. I mean, he has to be the greatest sports personality of all time, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the greatest sporting moment of all time, and we've only heard half the story. Morky Morkinsons, what do you have to say that isn't about football? And why are you smirking like that? Because I can't wait to find out.
Oh, well. Right. You call me now, right. Firstly, I love sports. I always have, and I always will. The competition, the athleticism, the skill, the determination, the intelligence. Sports is just mwah. I love it. So picking a great sporting moment, that's a fucking big one. Obviously, ignoring football, there's just a couple that I can think of. Bolt's triple. 3 consecutive gold medals in 100, 200, and 4x100 meter relay in 3 consecutive Olympics has never been done before. That's crazy. Super Saturday, which is actually my birthday, August the 4th, 2012, where Team GB won 5 gold medals in one day, and 3 of them came in the space of 44 minutes on the same day. London 2012 was fucking good, even though Vinny says it wasn't, and we watched most of it together, and he's a fucking traitor. Except for my best friend.
I loved it.
Ronnie O'Sullivan hitting a 147. I've already spoken about that. 5 minutes and 8 seconds. The fastest 147 of all time. Go watch the video. It'll only take you 5 minutes.
And 8 seconds.
You didn't have to wink at
There's
the camera
also
after saying that, by the way. That was a bit weird.
There's also a bunch of great sporting moments, as I found out, from like the Red Sox and the Cubs, or like some Buccaneers, American teams and sports and stuff. To be honest, they're American sports. They're probably the only sports that I don't care about.
You did go through your NFL phase.
I know, and then I realized what I was doing, but I want to say sorry to our American audience. I know there's a few of you. Genuinely sorry, but it is unfortunate that the entire world doesn't give a shit about American sports either. It's only America that cares about
NBA is like a pretty fast-growing sport in Europe, like basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball's alright. American football, it's the most boring thing on the planet.
But, you know, it's fine. They love it, and that's... You know, everyone has to have their thing. There are people out there who hate soccer, not me. And so, my pick. What is my pick? Let's get down to it. Well, it is easily one of the greatest sporting moments within the sport that it's from. Easily. And it's one of those that when you think of that sport, it just comes up straight away. You're like, yeah, bang, what about this time? It is a bit of a niche one, though. I've tried to pick one that maybe is niche.
I'm so suspicious right now. Because I can read your face like a book and something
No,
is
you
going
can't.
on.
I'm reading my script. But it involved some absolute heroes fighting against all the odds against a far, far superior opponent, coming back to turn the tide of the game. In 2005, in the city of Istanbul... where the mighty Liverpool came back from 3-0 down. Okay, fine. Okay, right. 2021, Lionel Messi.
Come on, mate.
Okay,
move it on.
Right, real quick.
Come on.
Okay, right. To cast your mind back, not that long ago, 2015, Leicester City are bottom of the Premier League.
You're such a knob.
Stop it.
Okay, fine. Okay, for real this time. No football. This is the pick. I promise this is the pick. And this one involves one of the greatest sports persons of all time ever. And I think everybody would have him in their top 10, with some ranking him number 1. And yeah, there's a definite argument for that. And not only are they a great sports person who was the world's best in his prime, he was the best in the world in his prime.
Cristiano
He was
Ronaldo.
also a big personality, and he became a genuine superstar, which is incredible considering that all of this was before the internet. I'm talking about the legendary, the iconic, the absolutely loved, born Cassius Clay, but now known as Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
Nice.
no. Well
Nice.
done.
Nicknamed the greatest. End of presentation. Anyway.
It's not the greatest sporting man.
He's
Literally
definitely
called
the
the
greatest sports personality of all time ever, without a shadow of a doubt. He's the greatest.
Probably. Yeah. He was a large personality. Oh, sorry, no, I've missed a line there. Ali, actually, Seb, you've brought me perfectly, because Ali was voted sports person and sports personality of the century
Yeah, I'd probably
at
back
the turn
that.
of the century.
Was that by the BBC?
He, sports personality was BBC, sports person was Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, because I read on Jesse Owens he was in the shortlist for that. But obviously didn't
They
get
Muhammad
it.
Ali did.
Didn't get the number one.
Nah. But he won gold at the 1960 Olympics, aged just 18, and he turned professional that year. Now, he's not only famed for his fighting, though, because he was, as we said, a large personality. He would predict which round he would knock out his opponents in, and he would come out with some of the best quotes of all time. And I'll read you a few of my favorite ones from this fucking massive website. I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. Fucking balls. I done wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. Handcuffed lightning. Thrown thunder in jail. Only last week I murdered a rock. Injured a stone. Hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
You got to
I'm
do the
probably-
accent. I don't know why. you're
I
not doing
can't,
the
I'm gonna
voice.
butcher it.
I'm so fast.
I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. Obviously, you've got fucking float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm so fast that last night I turned the light switch in my hotel room. I was in bed before the room was dark. I can't do his accent.
I'm so
Anyway.
fast. He's kind of breathless the way he talks. I'm so fast.
He's he's got a southern accent, hasn't he? Because he's from Alabama somewhere. No?
Oh, he's
thought
Alabama
Memphis.
as well.
So I think so. I
It was
Oh,
can't.
Memphis,
Jesse
Tennessee, but I
Owens.
could be wrong.
Oh, it might be Tennessee actually.
Ah.
Memphis, Texas. I'm so fast. I turn the lights off. I'm in
He's
bed.
definitely like a southerner.
I'm gonna eat shit and I'm gonna shoot lightning.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
But yeah,
I'm
he's
so
got
mean.
some of the fucking best lines, not in sports, but like ever.
Yeah.
Now-
agreed.
Yeah, at the beginning of his career, he went 29-0, famously beating the infamous and incredible heavyweight at the time, Sonny Liston, on the way up.
Mm.
But that year, he would refuse to be drafted into the military to fight in the Vietnam War, making a stand against it, and he was found guilty of draft evasion, and he was stripped of all of his boxing titles. This man fucking fought in the ring and fought for it, what he stood for, and fought the adversity that came with it. He didn't give a shit, and he fought the case, and he appealed it, and his conviction was later overturned after a successful appeal. But this meant that he didn't fight for 4 years, 4 whole years of his prime. Ali was completely missing.
Yeah. It's a
And
real,
he
it's
came-
a real bad shame. It's a real
Yeah, it was
shame.
brutal. Yeah, and he came
they-
back and he gone.
Sorry, didn't they also offer him like he could have done the draft and they would have offered him like a thing where he didn't actually have to like go. He could have just
Yeah,
been
they
like,
would have done. Yeah, but he was just like
symbolically-
no, because he was just like, no, I'm not getting
So
involved
Yeah,
with war.
stood up.
because it was like he wasn't actually. It's not like he was even. He was. it was almost a bigger sacrifice because he was never going to have to fight. They probably wouldn't have made him actually carry a gun because they didn't make like Famous do it. They got like symbolic and they did like public service stuff. So he just purely on principle sacrificed everything
for his principles. Yeah, which is mad and like just makes him this huge, massive character at this point. But he came back, you know, after those 4 years, and he won the first kind of couple of fights. But then he would lose to Joe Frazier, who was another massive heavyweight boxer on the scene. A loss that he would later avenge. But it was on the back of this avenged loss, and after all of this build-up in his life, that his career and him as a personality would reach the absolute peak and the GOAT sporting moment in his next fight. Ali was 44-2 and absolutely on top of the world. His quotes, his personality, his activism, his stands, his boxing record, he was one of the world's biggest superstars already. So, let's put him up in a fight against the undisputed, the undefeated, 40-0 heavyweight monster who also has a grill named after him, Big George Foreman. Interesting. I thought the George Foreman grill was different to the actual George Foreman, but it's George. The same guy.
Big George.
Yeah.
And he was making like $40 a month from that at his peak sales.
Is that it?
$40 million, sorry. And he didn't really even make the grill. This inventor guy who made the grill said like, oh, it'd be great to have you as like a brand ambassador or something. So he paid him.
Of course he didn't make the grill.
Yeah, he paid $160 million to George Foreman to have his name and then royalties on top of that.
Yeah.
The lean green, the lean, nuts. Was it the lean mean grilling machine?
Yeah, lean mean grilling machine, yeah. Big George Foreman. Now, this bout would be called the Rumble in the Jungle, which was being fought in Zaire. I think it's Zaire.
Which is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Which is my next, thanks Seb, which is now the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Was it Belgian owned at that point?
No, they just got their independence.
Okay.
Don't know. 60,000 people would be live watching the fight in the stadium with a record-breaking 50 million pay-per-view buys. The fight grossed over $100 million, or adjusted to inflation, 600 million.
That's nuts.
Those numbers would make Mayweather weak. And this was fucking 1974. But what about the fight itself? Well, Ali, he was known for his speed, skill, and technique, with George Foreman known for his raw power, as Seb said earlier in the episode. It was thought he could punch a man and they would be instantly killed. There was a rumor going around that if George Foreman punched you, your head would explode and you'd be dead.
Wow. So
this was a perfect matchup. And it was a massive surprise to everybody watching that when the bell rang, Ali, the smaller, faster, more technical boxer, came out fucking swinging, going for power, and absolutely laying it on Foreman. But this tactic didn't prove that effective for very long, because Ali just didn't actually have the power to put Foreman down, and started taking some punches back himself, which obviously meant bad news if he's going to get hit. So, at the end of the first round, Ali knew he would have to change his style, he'd have to change up the fight and get it more on his terms. And he came up with a move and a tactic that would live on forever and will be debuted in this ring on this night. This technique was the rope-a-dope technique, where Ali would stay hugging the ropes, dodging, weaving, and taking small, insignificant hits as well. He would take a lot of body shots that he would kind of block with his elbows, a lot of shots kind of to the side of the head, but nothing really too damaging because he was just able to dodge and evade and stay on the ropes. And what this meant was that George Foreman would get fucking knackered, and every single time he would come in with a barrage and Ali would be dodging and leaning on the ropes. George Foreman would eventually stop punching because he'd be so tired, and then a little opportunity would open up, and Ali would come in with a quick, powerful flurry of punches to just lay on some damage to Foreman's body and face. And his face did, after a couple of rounds of this, start really, really swelling up. The technique and the tactic was working like a fucking
The
charm.
speed of Muhammad Ali is I feel like it's difficult because obviously old-timey movies always, like black and white film always looks a bit weird and like speed warpy. But like I think until you watch other heavyweights, like when you watch like fucking, even now, like someone like Tyson Fury sort of lumbering around.
Very slow, yeah.
And then you just see this guy who really is like lightning. It's like,
He is
it's
lightning,
like,
and
it's
he's
like a whip
massive
crack.
as well. He's big as
Yeah.
well. Like, he's a big guy. Yeah, I mean, I watched this fight last night, and it was in color, and it was fucking awesome.
And also
but,
just the videos. If no one's ever, I'm sure almost everyone listening to this would have seen it, but just type in like Muhammad Ali dodge punch, and just there's like a really, really famous like 20-second clip
Right, he's on the
where
thing going like, he's got his teeth like this. So it's like,
yeah, and it's just like Foreman is just wailing on him, and not a single punch touches him.
no.
It's nuts.
And even if they do, they're only like glancing. They're not really
Yeah.
like, because Ali knows he's got to avoid that massive punch because that will just fucking knock him out. And so, yeah, Ali's fucking hitting back with all these flurries and laying on the skill and really putting the damage on the big guy. So now Foreman's getting tired and he's getting hurt as well. So Ali's actually doing damage at the same time. And it was at this point that Ali actually started talking to George Foreman during the fight. And he would say stuff like, they told me you could punch, George. And they told me you could punch as hard as Joe Louis. And according to George Foreman, this is a quote from the man himself, I thought he was just one more knockout victim until about the 7th round, I hit him hard to the jaw and he held on to me and whispered in my ear, that all you got, George? I realized that this ain't what I thought it was. Ali was fucking putting it on George Foreman at this point. Like, everyone thought Ali was the lamb to the slaughter, but this lamb has grown into a fucking behemoth and is stomping this lion to death. Now, we enter the 8th round, and George Foreman is so fucking knackered and beaten up that his hands are literally pillows at this point. Like, he's not doing fuck all in terms of hitting Ali and hurting him whatsoever. And so, as Foreman tries to push Ali back to the ropes again, Ali sees his chance and he unloads with a devastating combination of punches, moving him into the middle of the ring. You know this is like the finishing blow, because as he's hitting him, he's like almost pushing Foreman into the middle of the ring. Like, this is where it's going to end, right in the center. And he unloads this combination and finishes it off with a fucking straight right hand right on the kisser. Boom! And if you watch the video, it's really famous. When he hits him with this right hand, Foreman just instantly starts to collapse. And you see Ali shaking his hand because he's like holding back from hitting him with punches as he's going down. And Foreman said that he knew what kind of a man Ali was when he didn't hit him with those punches as he was going down. Like, he just knew that one was enough. Bang, he's out.
Yeah.
And that's where that very, very famous photo comes from, where there's a guy laying on the canvas and Ali's kind of stood over them like this.
Yeah,
that is that
like
punch.
screaming.
Yeah, that is that punch. Boom, he's dropped the giant.
I could have sworn that was the other punch, the 6-second one, where they thought he took a dive. The other guy.
Well, there's a couple that look very similar, but the one where he's like this, that's from the Foreman fight, where he's like...
Okay.
You have to have a look at it, actually.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. Is that George Foreman? What, when he's like got that like thing and he's staring down?
No, not that thing. No, not that one. He's
that's
kind of
the
like
one I'm
this. He's
thinking
kind of
of.
got his hands up.
Okay.
No, not that one. That one. No, that one's a different one. This one, he's kind of got his like hands up. He's got like this. Like, one of his left hand's kind of like shaking. In the video, it's like shaking because he's like ready to hit him with another one, but he holds back. He's kind of stood over him.
I can't seem to find it.
Yeah, and like George is like falling head first. Like,
Yeah.
Face down.
Yeah. I did just watch.
But there's so many iconic photos from that fight. And George Foreman he hits the canvas. Like, the giant has toppled. The 40-0 monster, the knockout machine. Like, he's down. Like, what? Ali's won the fight. And this star and this absolute legend has now become an icon of sports forever. What are you laughing at?
I just found one of the pictures. I was looking up iconic pictures, and I was just like zooming in on it for like the VOD people.
You've interrupted my climax for this. This better be good.
Mate, you're the one who asked.
What are you zooming in on?
George Foreman's face.
I mean, look at his fucking face, Jesus.
But don't worry, it's nothing.
Right. Anyway. God damn it. The star has become the star and legend has now become an icon of sports forever. And actually, interestingly, after this fight, there was talk of a rematch for years, and George Foreman said he hated Ali. He just fucking only had hate in his heart for him. And then one day, I can't remember the exact thing now, he was talking to somebody and he kind of just realized, like, he snapped in some realization that he could never win that fight. Like, I can't go back and win that fight. We're never going to have a rematch. I'm never going to beat him. Like, he's just the better man. And so then they kind of reached out together and they became literally best friends. Like, George Foreman said he never knew a human being better than he knew Muhammad Ali after that. They were absolute best friends.
Wow.
And there's a moment in, like, I think like the 1999 Olympics or something, Oscars, where the movie about this particular fight won an Oscar. And George Foreman is helping Ali up to the podium to help collect the award, because obviously Ali's really suffering from Parkinson's at this point and he can't barely walk. And George Foreman's like ushering him up, like they're arm in arm as like brothers, which makes this moment even more incredible. That after this fight, they still managed to become incredible friends.
It's like Rocky and Apollo Creed in Rocky.
Well, didn't this fight inspire that, or is that another fight?
Rocky's like an amateur kind of fighter, and he's fighting the world champion. That's like what it's about.
No, one of the Rocky fights, it might be Ivan Drago actually, is inspired by real events where they kind of took that storyline and like the big guy and all this and like shifting to me. I don't know. You'll have to have a look at that. But that's it. That's my pick. Not Liverpool, Champions League, whatever.
I mean, it's a great pick.
The Rumble in the Jungle. I think that this fight is obviously massive. It's a big fight. It's one of the best moments in sports ever. But I also think that it's just even more important for what it did to Ali in like raising him. He was already big, but putting him to the fucking like orbit in terms of being an absolute legend. Like, imagine if he didn't win this fight and he didn't do the rope-a-dope after all the chat and all this, like, if he couldn't beat this Goliath, and in the way that he did, switching up his tactics mid-fight, inventing the rope-a-dope technique and doing all this crazy shit, he cemented himself as, like Seb said earlier, the greatest sports personality of all time. And so it's, the greatest sports personality of all time in history. This moment, this defining moment's got to be up there as probably the greatest sport moment of all time.
I think what people never realize about Muhammad Ali, and I didn't really realize until really recently, is that like I think people always talk about him like because of the whole draft thing, almost like he missed the peak of his career. Like, it's kind of like, I think people almost get mixed up between him and Mike Tyson, because obviously Mike Tyson's career did kind of falter after the prison thing. Like, I know he came back and had that really big fight, but he was never the same fighter than before he went in. Whereas Ali, his career actually peaked after drafting, which I think I didn't really realize, because obviously I kind of assumed that beating Big George and then getting that win, the 2 wins again over Joe Frazier, because they had the trilogy and he ended up kind of being he ends up being the better fighter over that trilogy. He beats Joe Frazier twice. And like, I kind of assumed all of that happened before the draft.
That all happened after. Yeah,
which is kind of mad.
The reality is he didn't miss his peak in terms of like, right, this is where his career peaked. He missed his peak years as an athlete, really, because that 4 years was from like 23, 24 to like 27, 28.
Yeah, so obviously, like in terms
So
of
he'd
that
missed out
precedent-
in the ring of his like peak years as an athlete in terms
But-
of his physical and everything else, but not the peak of his career, because obviously that's kind of not really subjective. But yeah, like when do you peak? When's the best moment of your career?
Right now.
It's kind of mad because you've picked two really different picks that are like, it's really hard because I think that in terms of a pure sporting moment, it's really hard to argue with like Muhammad Ali knocking down Big George. Like that is
Knock him out.
knocking out Big George Foreman. Like,
Sparker's blood. Boom.
like it is crazy, and like obviously his attitude towards going into that fight, and kind of he really embodies that like weird, I don't know if we talked about this before, but that almost like tangible thing about like so much self-belief that it's almost like he kind of just willed it into existence, like he couldn't lose, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
a bit like, you know, that we talked about before, like, you know, when you see Messi or Ronaldo taking like the penalty that will seal the game, or, you know, and you're like, there's no doubt in your mind that it works, because you're like, well,
yeah.
they are just like almost destined for greatness in that moment. And like the rope-a-dope is fucking just watch it, just Google it. Insane.
It's crazy.
Like,
and the fact that it, like, I'm sure it had been done before, maybe in training, but not really. Do you know what I mean? That is widely credited as this is the birth of that technique.
And also, like, I would say probably the defining moment of arguably the golden age of boxing. Like, obviously it carried on as a sort of big sport until like the 2000s, and then really petered out. But like, you know, what a moment. But then on the other hand, in terms of like impact and cultural significance, like there's no one moment of like Jesse Owens fucking running real quick or whatever, but like his impact. Yeah, no, and obviously,
yeah, 4 golds, 4 Olympic records.
Which is incredible. And I think that's the thing, is like it's a sporting moment, and like as a moment that is wild to like to
I think it's a great sporting moment on its own, but then with the context of it being
the cultural significance behind it,
Nazi
the
Germany
flavor
adds that like that je ne sais quoi.
I was going to say je ne sais quoi.
Do you know what?
What does that even mean?
Well, that's the whole point. I don't know what. It's that kind of intangible. The je ne sais quoi is that feeling you get before fucking Messi takes a free kick that you know is going in before he's even hit it.
Right.
It's that kind of like that, like
pizzazz.
You can't put your finger on it, just that tingly feeling of like.
Is that like Darwin Núñez is taking a shot? Will it go in? Je ne sais quoi.
No, it's the opposite of that. It's the exact. Darwin Núñez has no je ne sais quoi. He is like the opposite of je ne sais quoi. He's like, I know what. But my opinion on it would be as follows. I think Muhammad Ali would be looking down on me with shame and raining fists of anger if I didn't name Jesse Owens as the greatest sporting achievement of sporting. If I didn't name Jesse Owens as the greatest sporting moment, him doing what he did at the 36 Olympics, like given everything that Ali stood for and everything he did for.
You're such a prick. You can't bring that into it. You can't put the guilt trip on of like, you don't know that.
No, I do know that, and like because of that, like if you said to Muhammad Ali, "What's a bigger sporting moment?" Jesse Owens winning 4 gold medals at the 36 Olympics in front of Adolf Hitler and making him wave like a little fangirl, or you knocking out George Foreman, Ali would say Jesse Owens.
Yeah, probably, but you can't bring that into it, man.
I can, and I will, and that's my opinion. It's one of those ones where it's really difficult. I can't think of a single sporting moment along those lines that has such cultural significance. I mean, the only one I could think of is football related, and it's that guy Shalabalaba, whatever his name is, scoring at the South Africa World Cup. But
I mean, that was still only 1 goal, didn't have any real.
But yeah, like even that, like, you know, when Peter Drury's commentary about like this divided nation coming together and like all that, like I think obviously, like, yeah, racial tension is like, it doesn't get much bigger and more significant than that.
No.
And to take that on and to disprove the ideology of such a vile group is like, you know, what do you want? Like, how do you top that?
It's up there. It's
I
up
do
there.
think that, like, obviously, you know, Muhammad Ali stood on the shoulders of Jesse Owens, and, you know, like that, you know, even the name Rumble in the Jungle was like a big deal. Like the fact that it was going on in Zaire between these two like big black athletes who, like, you know, looked on as gods is it was an amazing moment in its own right in terms of like that side of sport. But I don't think, you know, what the fuck, man. There's pictures of Jesse Owens at school doing his arm in the air, fucking let's go. What do you want?
Yeah. I would have won if I could have picked my original pick.
If you
I
think
think-
that I would have picked Istanbul 2005 over Jesse
No.
Owens,
I was gonna pick Liverpool beating Barcelona 4-0 at Anfield in 2019.
yeah, I mean,
Taking quickly, Origi.
I mean that is, I mean, if you're talking about pictures, you can hear. I can hear Cornan taking quickly Origi like in my head, but I just don't think it gets bigger than Jesse
No,
Owens.
you're right. It
What-
probably
what- what
doesn't.
man, you
It
know.
doesn't.
But a valid competition, a great sportsman-like competition, I have to say. Actually, two really interesting. I've really enjoyed, like, the last couple of episodes. Been really interesting. Like, again, like, I didn't know any of that.
You won't let me pick like Liverpool on that.
But that's the thing. I think we've had a nice we had a bit of a moment where we were like, right, let's stop doing so many joke answers and like take it a bit seriously again. And do you know
Yeah.
what? I feel like the quality's improved a bit. Like, you know, just like it's a kind of almost like if we take it seriously, there is a bit more to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, tune in next week for Greatest Porn Star 2 or
but
Vinny's
yeah.
original pitch top 6 paedophile.
My original pick.
Oh, fucking Savills top. Anyway, what are we doing next week, Vinny?
We are doing greatest scientific discovery. It's you two against each other.
Oh,
Mork versus Sebek.
fuck, man. I'm already riffing in my
The
brain.
atom bomb.
Is that discovery?
What
or
did
is
it
that an
do?
invention?
Well, discovering nuclear fusion is a discovery.
That's a discovery, yeah.
They didn't invent nuclear fusion. It's a chemical reaction.
No.
Right,
But
who
you said
invented
that
the
the
sun?
atomic bomb.
Yeah, but discovering nuclear fusion led to the atomic bomb, but also led to nuclear power.
Interesting.
Well, no, that's fission that we use.
Oh, fission. Yeah, they're nearly doing fusion, aren't they?
Nearly.
Yeah, I keep hearing that
They've been
we're on
nearly
the,
doing fusion for ages.
We're on the cusp of cold fusion. We're on the cusp of like.
No, literally, like a few days
But I
ago,
have heard
Britain
about
did a
this.
test that generated the most nuclear fusion powered energy like ever recorded. It's now the world record for the most energy created by
be
nuclear
fair,
fusion.
They did do
Wow.
that thing where they like beamed a thing and like more energy came out than went in, and that's pretty fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Like,
they're getting
that is
in our
weird.
lifetime. 100%, they'll
How'd
be
that
able to
work?
do that kind of stuff.
Well, that's nuclear fusion, isn't it, baby? You beam a thing and more comes out than went in. That's the fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
But that's like the dream, innit? But that is the thing. I do think the human race, we have this real ability to just pull out the bag right at the last minute.
Oh
I
yeah,
do
we'll
think-
do it. We'll do it.
I do think it'll be like fucking right on the climate change
No
apocalypse,
problemo.
and then they'll be like, "We've done it, boys."
Yeah.
And then it'll just be like a utopia where like everything's fine. You just got limitless energy, and no wuckers, mate.
It won't be though, will it? Because they'll find some way to fuck it up.
Oh yeah, you'll have to like harvest the child tears of orphans to make it happen, and it'll be like,
No, it'll be something weird. It'll be like, right, you all have. I don't know, man. It'll be like, oh, you can't say the word people anymore or something. You know what I mean?
And what is the point in living if you can't say people anymore?
I don't know, man. It'll just be something weird. Something weird will happen. When we get it too good, the weird stuff happens. But yeah, cool.
Well, thanks for listening. Big up Joey Essex. Fucking hell, man, come on.
Dude, that
Big
is
up.
the biggest insult of this episode.
Right, who's more culturally significant, Jesse Owens or Joey Essex?
Fucking hate Joey Essex. He's a fucking brat.
But no, thank you all for listening. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice. Don't forget to give us a little watch on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Don't forget to follow us to the supermarket. And I've been Seb. They've been Mork and Vinny. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Wicked jungle is massive.
Just gonna do this as the VOD closes.
I'm keeping it on. You gotta keep waving. You gotta keep waving.
Bye.
Keep waving.
See you later, YouTube.